time it is? Yes, you do. It's Saturday at 11 a.m. It's Renovation Nation time. That's right. It is. And it's another show. 9 years and one show. That's what we're doing today. Yeah, it was a fun week last week. Chris Kelworth coming in like old school days, just rambling about all kinds of stuff. I don't know, we talked about a plethora of different things last Saturday. The one thing I think was a common denominator was the price increases on everything, right? We talked about the first show we did. It was a bathroom, and it used to be about $5,000 if you want to do the bathroom, just bare minimum. But now it's more. Now it's a lot more. Now that gets you a shower, maybe, and a little bit of flooring. But got to give him a big shout out. That was fun. And we're going to do some more of that. We're definitely going to do some more of that. May not be every weekend, but he's going to be coming up here randomly, and we're going to bust out some shows just to break it up, because I know you might not, but every now and then, just talking about roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and home attic insulation needs every Saturday. I guess that's my job, but at the same point in time, it's, I like to be entertained too, or do something else. It's redundancy gets a little, unless it is your job, gets a little old. I got to change it up a little bit. And last week was definitely a fun time of changing it up. So we definitely want to give him a big shout out. What else we got, man? I tell you, in about a couple weeks, it got me thinking, last week's show, about, been here 9 years in one show, that Saren was 12, and now she's about to be 21 and getting ready to head back to school. I'm about to have to haul some of her furniture and stuff again, and it's her last year. It's senior year. So last year rugby, still don't have all the rules. Getting closer though. No, I'll probably have them about the second to last game. No every rule about rugby, but yeah, it's the last one. I got a little nostalgic this last week, and then with Saren going from 12 to 21 during this time period of me being here talking to you and Chris and everybody else that's come in, that's pretty wild. Actually, it's time flies. I guess if there's a lesson there, it is that, time flies. Enjoy it while you're doing it. So, what else are we going to today? Talking to Chris last week got me thinking a little bit about, we sort of narrowed down some of our topics, had a few highlighted topics last week. And, I'm always coming in and I'll start talking about, your roofing or your siding. And then, I always do hey, if it's that time, call RTM Roofing, at 615-500-0751. 500-0751 for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and blown-in attic insulation needs. Well, every time that I say that, it's like Brandon Mitchell said, last year when he was here, that, some people don't know what fascia is, doesn't know what, I run into a lot of clients that I'll be talking to them about a roof, or they've called us about gutters, and then, of course, looking at the roof, and they go, yeah, I'm thinking about some siding. I'm like, we do that. Hey, right here. We do that. I want to jump up, and because, I know sometimes when you're driving and listening, or you're changing your oil, or you're working right now, you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. That, stuff just, your mind's bandwidth just doesn't have the bandwidth at the moment for whatever you're doing to always remember what we do. And I want to slow down a little bit today and talk about a little about a lot, or a lot about a little. It'd be A or B. Knowing me, it'd probably be A. But my point being that, I want to narrow down to let you know what we do. Because I realize, a lot of you call us, and you're calling for a specific reason, but you've had this other reason too that you didn't know. It just didn't translate over, didn't cross the airwaves right here just right. Or now we're on TikTok too. I finally got a TikTok. Yeah, I know. Everybody quit throwing stuff at your radio. I finally got one, and putting up our, the reels. I don't do the whole show over there, but we do on YouTube, and you can go to our website at rtmroofing.com. Now, I haven't got the TikTok link up, but it's at RenNat, REN.NAT. 23, I believe it is. Yep, that's what it is. But nevertheless, we're over there now. I crossed over to the dark side to get on TikTok. Hey, while we're doing the show, we might as well capture other stuff and have some fun. And it gives people a place to go to rehear, maybe learn something, or just kill some time. Whatever it is you may be doing. So the point of today where I was going is, what do we do? I always rattle that off, roofing, siding, soffit, da-da-da-da. Well, a big thing I've come across is fascia here lately, because these windstorms or downpours with some wind, whatever it may be, doesn't do any, you're lucky enough it didn't do any damage to your roof, but it blew off a piece of fascia. Now, we got Brandon Mitchell beating in my head right now. What is fascia? Fascia is the vertical board that you see the full board of. If it's a 1x6 or 1x8, you're going to see 6 or 8 inches, depending. That frames outside of your house, not where your gutters are at, but where it goes up in an angle, and that is your fascia. Well, some have wood that's painted. That typically doesn't blow off. It blows off, the nails have been backing out for a while or have rotted, something's happened, and you've got to repaint it, repaint. Other people wrap it. You know what I mean by wrapping it? They cover the face and bottom with a metal. And we call that, I'm sitting here just thinking, sorry, I'm dragging a little bit today. Sitting there thinking, we call that fascia metal. If it's not painted, you got metal. Metal's pretty good. You never have to paint it. That's a good thing. Now, if you do have wood painted fascia, you've got to paint it every so often. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It all depends on what's on it currently and how long it's been there. But with one piece blowing off of that metal, or even wood, that's not an insurance claim. If it's just that, it's not. That'll be well below your deductible. But where I wanted to go into now, we've talked about what fascia is. I think I didn't write anything down other than the word fascia, so I'm just not winging it, but I'm just pulling it all out at once. That, let's say it's white, or that's what it originally was. Most is usually white or a cream color. Sometimes you're getting darker colors, and those look great too. The majority's white or a cream color, and it's been sitting there for, 10, 12 years. 15 years since you moved there, since you got installed. You don't replace that often. It's a 10 to 15 year deal or something like that, or get it tuned up. But I'll get into that later. Where I'm going, or what I'm trying to convey is, let's say you got a 12-foot piece, 10-foot piece. It's either 10, whatever it may be. 10-foot piece. It blows off. Now, the other side of your fascia, the other side of that gable, it's still there. It's still 5, 10, 15 years old. More like 10, 15 years old, let's say. And it's not exactly as bright white as it was. Well, what I've realized over time is that most people just want to replace that one piece. That's fine. But understand, that's just like painting one board when you've replaced it. And the other side is 10 to 15 years old. Not quite as white or cream colored or whatever it may be as it once was. The best bet is to replace both those sides. Now you say, Chad, that's a dormer up there, and there's 2 more dormers beside it, and it's all facing this way, and the other's a little darker. Well, you've got a choice there. You can either see just one side that's brand new and white, and the rest of it is a darker color usually, or at least that one gable looks uniform. That's option 2. Do both sides right there. Or option 3, do all front facing sides. That doesn't mean you have to do all the whole home. That means it all depends on your taste. We can repair that one piece. We can make it look good with 2. And if you want it all done because you don't like it'll fade in over time. It really will. It'll eventually become darker. The others, it gets dark, but it doesn't just turn black unless you're in a weird situation. I guess what I'm trying to get at is always be thinking when you're doing something, because to be honest with you, to do 10 foot or 20 foot, the same price. That's the big deal. Now, of course, if you start getting to 60, 80, 100 feet, that's a different story. But just to come out and replace one piece nowadays, there's a minimum. And it goes up to a certain amount of feet. So just remember that. And when you see that piece of crinkled fascia, let's say it just pulled away a little bit and it hadn't wrinkled. Well, that means they usually put finish, now I call them finish nails in the fascia metal. They've been backing out. And so wind has pulled it away a little bit because it's now got a little bit of a depth from where it was holding the fascia against the wood. Pretty snug, real tight. Sorry if you can hear my stomach. I hadn't eaten much today. That they back out, and maybe it's backed out a quarter inch. Maybe a couple of them are. Well, the metal's still fine. You just need a tune-up, and that's what a tune-up of fascia metal is really making sure it's all re-nailed. Maybe you have to add another one here because one's wallowed out a little bit. But get it refastened. That saves you, number one, from having to deal with, do I replace one piece, two pieces, or the all front facing? And spend less money by getting it tuned up. That's fascia. Hope you got that one. Brandon, hope you're listening. Because you are listening to Renovation Nation, coming at you live from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Come on back. We're going to jump in. I'm going to perk up. I don't know what's going to go on. See you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowan with RTM Roofing. Energy efficiency today is a big thing. How much are you losing out of your attic from your insulation or lack thereof? RTM Roofing now does blown-in attic insulation. Let us come out and inspect and see where you're sitting. Make sure you're fully insulated. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com. We'll be looking for your call. You know what time it is, and you know we're back. Back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Another Saturday. Woo! I don't know. Is it just me this past week? That just, get a good night's rest and wake up and you're still tired? I ran a few people are like that. I'm going to get in my tinfoil hat stuff here. But hey, you're listening to Renovation Nation. I'm Chad Rowland, host of this crazy show, coming at you from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, yeah, we're here. We're here today. Every now and then's a day. You know how that is. But I'm slowing down a little bit because that was too much fun last week with Chris Galbraith. It really was. It reminded me of it wasn't like a normal interview that I normally do when I have people up or on the show. It's usually I've met them once or twice, or I've met them a couple times, but I'm just sort of always thinking of what to ask next and pay attention to what they're saying and try to get what they're wanting to get across. Try to help them get that out and keep up with it. Yeah, and keep up with it. But with Chris, it's a good banter back and forth, and we get a little crazy sometimes. We'll go off on different tangents, but it's more of a good conversation, just like he and I have during the week anyways at times. We'll spend an hour on the phone sometimes. He doesn't work much. Don't let him act like it. But it was just sort of fun, and I'm coming in today, and I'm like, okay, I've got a few things I want to talk about. I really didn't, do my complete show prep. Me and my vast staff of myself and I. So, and I didn't want to keep beating the same stuff over and over, so I've been talking about fascia metal today. And fascia's pretty neat. I've discovered some things after doing a lot of feet of fascia that, whether you paint it or you wrap it, there's pros and cons to both. And the fascia is that metal that you see if, let's just say you're looking at an A-frame house, right? It's the A part right below the shingle. It's either painted or it's wrapped in metal. And it's either 6 inches or 8 inches, and I've seen 2-bys, but it's usually a 1-by. It's an outer trim board, is what I really like to call it, but they call it fascia. And I've noticed that if you've got a house that's got wood fascia, and it's got a couple little spots that where the paint faded and the water's sort of gotten to, but it's not just crumbly, not just where you can just go grab it and it just fall apart. You got 2 choices. You're going to have to repaint it. And then, I've noticed that's a pretty good penny to repaint. And it'll come again in another 5 to 10 to 15 years, depending on what paint you use. And, there's a lot of details to that. But, it should be 5 to 7 to 10. I mean, just to start with, I would think. After you get to 10, that's a different story. I don't know. I'm not a go paint your outside of your home type of guy. We touch up things. But, I don't like just, hey, let's paint the brick. No, let's don't. We won't. But my point being, before I squirrel, is that if you wrap it in metal, now some wood you've got to replace. If it's some bad wood in there, get it out, put some new in, wrap it. But if you're to the point that it's not quite bad wood, and if you can get it covered and get the water off of it, you don't have to paint again. Yeah, you might do a tune-up in 10 to 15 years, like what's causing fascia to blow off right now, unless it's just super high winds. It just grabs it and rips it. Doesn't matter what you nailed into it. Most of it is maintenance. That's loosened that the nails have backed out like they do on your roof. We call those nail pops. That's most of you have a nail pop on your roof. If your roof's past 7 years old, I'd bet you $500 off anything that you've got a nail pop on your roof somewhere that's backing out that I can find and document. So, and eventually it will punch a hole in your shingle, and you might not get water then, but that time's coming. That's why it's always good to get a roof inspection. Get a RTM roofing inspection. It's all encompassing. It's inclusive. It includes everything on the outside of your house, except we don't do windows or brick. Oh, exclusive. I always get those reversed. But I didn't that time, I don't believe, but I digress. But should it be that time, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps, or lack thereof. A lot of you don't have chimney caps. It's scary out there to me. I don't know if maybe the brick's doing its job, but it makes me nervous. But needs. And that's repairs and replacements. And now we also do home attic insulation, which we've gotten a lot of calls on here lately because it's been hot. And I've noticed that people care more about the heat coming in than when the wintertime is. But by getting your insulation checked, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Your home will be a little more comfortable, depending on what your insulation needs are. We'll be more comfortable in the winter as well as the summer. But when it's hot, people want it to be cooler in their home. And a lot of you found out that you've not been as protected as you thought you were, because especially if you have blown in insulation, it settles over time. Now, it all varies. It all depends on how much yours is settled. If it's an 80s home, 70s home, 1990s home, that's what now, 20-something years? Or 30-something years? Jeez. Yeah, I just thought about the year I graduated. But my point is that a lot of you have been calling because the heat has been coming in because you don't have the same R value or the same insulation value that you did when the house was new and over the first X number of years before gravity did its thing and compressed the insulation. That's a big deal. And people don't like the heat. Well, if you want to inspect it, as well as your roof and all the other things one thing I've talked about today, and fascia. If you need that inspected to make sure you're not going to be caught off with having to decide about we do 1 piece, 4 pieces, the whole front because one blew off because nails are backing out, that could have easily been minimally repaired in cost versus what it will be now, either in aesthetics or literally Or that literally, figuratively, literally the cost of higher than what it should be. You'd call RTM Roofing, of course. 615-500-0751, 500-0751 for all those needs. I might just start saying that and then babble off about, one or two of the things we do. Because it gets redundant that, even if I didn't say it so long, I wouldn't know it either. Roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutter, chimney caps, now blown in insulation. And Velux skylights. I've been dealing with a couple of those this past week. Some older models. One was in the 90s. And I was like, yeah, it's come a long way. We did a show about a month ago or so. You can find it on YouTube. Go to the website. You'll see some videos there. Just click on, then follow the link to a standard conversation, and it'll take you there. And if you need to, scroll to the bottom of the website. As soon as you go to the homepage, just scroll to the bottom. There'll be a contact card. Fill that out. Go straight to our system. We get right back with you by call, by email, and by text. The date, who's coming out, what's going on. Here we come. That's simple. So, where am I going? Insulation. Yeah. It's a lot more critical than I even thought before I even, not come up with this idea. I've been thinking about insulation for a long time. But finally was like, yeah, it's something we need to do because the more and more I've studied it, the more and more value I'm seeing in it. And the more and more I see that people see the value in it. Because, again, it's not just going to protect you for this summer. It's going to protect you this winter. We get 2 times a year if we're lucky that, hey, it's sort of nominal. Just feels good. Open the windows. It's all nominal. Can handle it. But the other times it goes to the extremes, and these last few weeks, it's been extreme. Well, it's Tennessee. Welcome to Tennessee. But there's something you can do about it. That's the point. Should it be a problem? If it's not a problem, that's great. How's your roof? How's your siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, and if you have Velux skylights? Don't need to talk about blown-in attic insulation. You don't need to save any money. You're doing good. And you'll be doing good when you come back because you're listening to Renovation Nation live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. See you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. The heat is on. Is it in? Is it in your house? Have you looked in your attic? Is it coming from your attic, your insulation or lack thereof? RTM Roofing now does home attic blown-in insulation. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com and get your complimentary inspection today. And you know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Caught me off guard. Playing my ears a little bit. Got this one earbud right here that's just not working right. Although I do like these. I think they're Bose. Sort of like, they're not custom, but they fit like custom earbuds. And they came with an amp. I think it was a little Spark. It came with a Spark amp I bought my daughter some years back. And I like them, and I sort of swapped some from her. And anyways, it's Met Familiar. But you are listening to Renovation Nation, coming at you live from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, host of this crazy show, coming at you every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I got that out of the way. Man, hope y'all are having a good day today. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. It's I don't know what today is. Today's one of my not off days, but I just got to get in the flow. I just got to get in the flow. Been talking about a lot of different things today. I actually narrowed down a little bit about fascia, about insulation. Because sort of the theme today is not what do we do, because we do roofing, repairs, replacements, insurance, retail. Give 10% off to everybody, and if you're a first responder, you get 15% off. That's all retail jobs. And the first responders, the police, the firemen, the paramedics, and that's, hospital workers, nurses, military, active, retired, Gold Star families. Yeah, that's 15% off. And after last week's show of talking about how things are a little higher than they used to be for the same thing, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot less out of your pocket, especially on bigger ticket items. Now, still 15% is 15%. I'll take 15 cents out of a dollar off every day. Hey, that's 15 more I can add up over time. But I realize that people, by meeting you actually, when I go out, that things pop up, because I'll usually always ask, or you might bring it up, that, hey, I'm going to be changing my gutters. I'm like, hey, we do gutters. But my point being is that, I just want to slow it down a little bit today, try a little different approach. Y'all probably like the wild, crazy Chad. I'll be back next segment. Give me a few here, man, and let me not wake up, but let me get excited about something, because the point I'm trying to get across today is how you don't have to spend as much money as you normally would and get the same result. And that was leading into, the fascia metal. You got one piece missing, but it connects to another, and up and over. And you can see them both at the same time, and one gets blown off or bent back or whatever. And the majority of the time, it's because the nails have been backing out, and it's got a little gap. You can wiggle. It's like a door, it doesn't shut. It's got that little gap in it. Well, wind, and especially some of the crazy storms we've been having, more isolated, but, winds real quick, heavy rains, frog-killing rains, I call them, that, get underneath it, and there it goes, or it just bends it. Now you got to replace it. Well, that can be taken care of by, number one, inspection from RTM Roofing. Number two, should there be nails backing out of it, we can reattach them, add new ones, secure it. That's your maintenance. That's not as much as coming out and having to do not just one piece of metal, but if you want to match two pieces of metal, or all the front of your house that you can see, because it's going to look different if it's been there at least 10 years. Unless you've got it cleaned every year, that metal, just like the paint on the wood, is going to fade. Or, the metal is a little different, but the paint will fade, gets dirty, and there you are having to make a more expensive decision to get back to the same thing, because it takes more parts. So that's sort of the show today. And it's fascia. It's fascia metal. That's it. It's simple. It's like roofing. It's like gutters. It's like a lot of different things that we do. I didn't pay as much attention to as I should have prior to getting in this side of the industry. And that was been many moons ago now. And I've mentioned that over the years, but it's true. I'm like, I'll never forget, I told Dwayne Reed when I was going to try to find a job just anywhere, because I'd got out with my master's in agriculture sciences, went back to school 14 years later, figured it out finally, slow bloomer or whatever they call it, slow bloomer or whatever. Yeah, I finally figured it out, figured something out. And I went to talk to him because he knew everybody under the sun. I said, hey, you know everybody, crack a door open, let me do what I do. And do anything, just about, within reason. And he's like, won't you come over here and sell roofs, for me? And I was like, who the heck needs a roof? Well, I learned that. That's one thing about the last year's birthday, last show for this year's birthday, number 9th birthday, that reflected on how far the show's come. I mean, I've learned stuff from, number one, being out in it, because you can't be a professional unless you got to study it, but you also have to do it. And it takes repetition, and it takes failure, and it takes successes. It's debits and credits. You will end up with more credits and do debits in the end, no matter what you're doing. Hey, there's the Renovation Nation quote of the day, but that's true. It's really, you can relate a lot of things to debits and credits. It's just, that's pluses or minuses. You've heard people, every step I take forward, that's 2 step backs. Well, you're a little high in the debit department. That means you're always behind. But for every step forward, you get 2 more steps forward, and maybe you have 1 step back, you're still forward. Pretty simple. And keep moving forward. Don't keep going backwards, or those debits become bigger than credits, and you want more credits in the end than you do debits. And I've learned that on multiple levels of life. Yeah, it's a sure some of you have too, but some hurt a little harder than others, and some was just stupid. You didn't, whatever it is you might have been doing, that you knew better. But that's learning. My point. And the one thing I do like about this show, I do try to do on this show, and it wasn't intentional. It just evolved over the years. I've noticed now, being able to look back, is I'm not a teacher. I can tell you right now, my dad, my father, he was a teacher. He taught physics, and he taught computer programming, and he taught golf, and he taught a lot of things. But I'm not a teacher. I mean, It's hard enough managing people, much less trying to come in, because the way I compute it in my head, now some of you would get it, some of you definitely would get it, but it's just sometimes random and spitfiring and backfiring, but I understand the point by failure, doing it repeated and finally getting it, and already being ahead of the curve on other things, because I've already done it and learned it. Yeah, I didn't care about what was fascia. I mean, I think I told the story one time that if I didn't, but it was back in one of my previous homes that oh, good Lord, it's been 20 years ago, before I even went back to school the second time, that I had a piece of fascia blow off. Yeah, ironically, I just thought about that today. And I remember we filed a claim. Now I laugh at it because, that's why, because number one, it wasn't claim worthy. I mean, if it's a $300 charge, let's say, you got a $1,000 deductible. Why are you filing for $300? You're not going to get, and you got a claim on your record, not the end of the world, but why have it if you don't have to? I look back on that. That's why sometimes when I'm talking and out here in the land of the radio waves and internet waves and all that, I'm really talking to myself, reminding myself of what I've learned, from what is a claim over the years and doing thousands of claims for clients, working for other people and working for myself since, 2015. But that's the kick is, I'm not a teacher, but I'm trying to teach myself, and I'm hoping you're getting something out of it. And the lesson of the day is number one, get your home inspected, get your roof inspected. That brings along your fascia inspection with RTM, that is. That brings along your fascia inspection, your soffit inspection, your gutter inspection. We look at windows as we're walking around. We can tell you if you've got some bad caulk. Now, we don't know window people. We don't replace windows. That's not a big, have we? Yeah. Or do we still? No, because it's not really what we do. That was an emergency situation. We did what we did. And we can do that, but we don't do it. But we do all the others. So your first step is get an inspection, at least know where you're sitting. Hey, you can let it continue to leak or not be fully nailed and whatever, but at least know where you're standing, because at RTM Roofing, that's complimentary. Number one, that means it's not costing you a dime. We're giving it to you. It's not free. You've listened long enough that have listened long enough know that I hate the word free. There's nothing free, but RTM Roofing gives it to you. Other roofing companies do too, it's insanity, but that's the rule. And of course we will. But we just don't look at your roof. If you call us with a roofing problem, we're still looking at the other stuff. Because number one, to point out pre-existing conditions that are about to lead to a failure, or you're doing good, or you need a tune-up, or it's failed and you don't know it, and it's already rotted your fascia board out because the gutter had already pulled away, or it was backflowing. And here we got back on the fascia topic again. That's the benefit of the inspection. It's not to come out and go, oh, got it. Oh, sell them a roof. Sell them a roof. No, I don't care if it's one shingle and 1 year old. Sell them a roof. No, it's what's going on. It's like, we're not doctors by any standards, but it's like going to the doctor. Hey, I just need a physical. Unless I know I got a problem, I'm just getting a physical. Let's do the blood work. Let's check dot the I's and cross the T's. Because the sooner I find out something, the sooner I can do something about it before it leads to other problems, which in this case, no, it's not going to kill you. It's just going to cost you a lot more money. And that's not good. That's the lesson I've learned over time. I've tried to save a nickel and ended up spending $1. For every nickel I tried to save, that got expensive. I don't like doing that now. And we think out of the box at RTM Roofing. It's not always got to be 1, 2, or 3. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do because that's what you need, and everybody's good with it. Don't know. Hadn't been out to your place yet. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 because you're listening to Renovation Nation coming at you from Super Talk 997 WTN CN3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. Are you the type of person that takes pride in your home? Let RTM Roofing help with the exterior, with your roof, with your siding, with your soffit, fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps. Home insulation now too. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com, scroll to the bottom and fill out the contact card. Let RTM Roofing help you get ready for summer. And you know we're back. And you know what time it is. Back live on Super Talk. It's Renovation Nation time. At least I don't pre-record those. You are back listening live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This is Renovation Nation every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the great station, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I thought about doing a pre-record on that where it's just always the same thing. Oh, you're listening. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. Not going to happen. It might happen, but so far it hasn't. But I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in today. And if you stuck around the whole show, thank you again. Even if you don't ring us and think everything's great at your home, that's awesome. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day, and even if it is just to kill some time, that's fine. That's fine. We got to do that every now and then too. And I'm a little envious if you're just getting to kill time right now. Need a little bit more than that in my life, I think. Need to do a self-help show. So bring a psychiatrist or whatever on here and talk to him for a while. Just do it on the air. Get it over with. But no, it's not that bad. It's really not. I'm just having some fun today. I'm finally woke up, got a little fired up that last segment. That last segment fired me up a little bit. But yeah, it's if you're just playing catch up and you don't know what we've talked about today, you can go to rtmroofing.com. There'll be some videos there. Click on one of the videos, and then you'll see at the Standard Conversation, who did the video. Click on that, and that's the website, or that's the YouTube channel. Then you'll be able to see this show. Now, it'll be uploaded Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere right in there. I'm trying to get it where I'm putting the segments out first, and then the whole show at the end of the week. But either way, if you need past shows or even this show, go follow us or subscribe, as they say, to us at YouTube at A Standard Conversation. And you'll see the Renovation Nation logo, or just search RTM Roofing, all that good stuff. Or go to our website, as I said a million times, but go to our website. And if you need our services, go to our website, rtmroofing.com, and scroll to the bottom of the page. As soon as you get the main page, you don't have to click anything. Just scroll to the bottom, and you'll see a big yellow backlit field of a contact card. Fill that out. Give us as much information as you can, about what's going on. You ain't got to be super detailed, but just, leak in the bathroom, need annual inspection, be as high level as you need to be, or write the paragraph out till it stops you. I have no problem with that because we're going to be contacting you to find out more information. So if there's not enough in there of what we're coming into, what we expect to see, I'm just, a lot of information you can give us that we've been doing it so long that I already have a general idea, and you can say it's biased, but it's based off of, just statistical data, if you want to be honest, of what I've always seen. You say you got a leak in your bathroom, I won't say 9 out of 10 times, but 8.8 out of 10 times, if that plumbing pipe comes up out of your roof in that area, that's usually what it is. Your boot's cracked. It's dilapidated. That's another big thing. I don't just say it comes in the roofing repairs and replacements, is what all's in the roof that can fail. And some of your biggest stuff are your penetrations. And every home has, except for a couple that went out the sides, pretty smart, have your plumbing pipes, the gas venting part of it, come up out of your roof. And 9 out of 10 of you, unless you've had your roof replaced with us and don't have cast iron piping, have neoprene pipe boots. They typically, and I say this, they're supposed to last 10 years. That's about the average. That's the number. I've seen them start cracking in year 5, and I've seen them go to 11, 12, 13. But just like tires on your cars, I talk about all the time. I hate to say bring that back up, but I do for you new listeners. I talk about it all the time. Your tires get 50 to 100,000 miles. Yeah, I know not always 100,000 miles on a tire. Somebody responded on YouTube. Oh, you got 100,000? Yeah, no joke, but some do. Every now and then somebody pulls that off. It can pull that off. But on average, 50,000 miles, you might be looking at your tires depending on how you drive and what they are. If they're old buckshots, they're pretty wore. The old nylon. But anyway, I digress. The point I'm getting at is that those boots are like the tire on your car. They're getting wore. They're driving to California and back every day with the sun. It's just like going to California and back every day. And after 5 years, you definitely need them looked at because things can happen and things can fail, whether they're 1 year old, brand new, or 20 years old. But that's usually what breaks down first, I see, along with caulking. Now, I know I've talked about fascia metal and all that today. If you haven't caught that, again, go to YouTube and check it out. But caulking in your pipe boots, which are part of your roofing system, they're your weakest elements, in my opinion. Number one, you're only going to have a leak where there's a hole in the roof. Or penetration, and a penetration is a hole in your roof. Those pipes, you cut out the wood around them, pipe comes through, and you got to flash it. So typically, as long as the shingles are installed properly, it's where your roof meets a wall or where something comes out of your roof. That's the problem. You got to keep those secure because that's the holes in your roof. Not all the nails, even though they can pop out. That's more, how would I say it? Less intrusive is a nail pop on average, unless I've seen some bad ones. But when a boot fails, then you can have a lot of water in, especially how long it's been there and you didn't know it, and it's finally, ripped open, instead of a 1/4 inch, it's now 1/2 inch. And you get these frog-killing rains, as I like to say, that we've been getting this year. A lot of water can come in pretty quick. I saw a commercial roof. Matter of fact, we've been working on it. We got it stopped. They sent me a video, and it looked like you took 500-gallon container and then got up inside this metal building, got up as high as you can get, and then just dumped it all at once. I expected to go there and it be the membrane gone, just flat roofing systems, because we do commercial work at R10 Roofing. I've talked about that, but nevertheless, if you're just now listening, I love meeting commercial property managers. If you've got a flat roof, I'd like to meet you. But it looked like you did a dumpster load of water was pouring in. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life on a video of water coming in, and I get up there, and the roof wasn't missing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, heck, what we got here? I see a couple holes, but not for that much water, right? Well, then I found out it's not just one problem. It was like 6 of them coming into this area, and it started on top of the coping. And coping is what covers the top of a wall. I guess that's the easiest way I can say it. Sometimes it's metal. A lot of times nowadays it's metal, but back in the day it was that big clay long coping. So tile-looking thing. But there was a crack about the size of a 1/2 inch. It went down to a 1/4 inch, about 2 foot long. I'm like, well, there's a problem too. Well, we hit it all and got it. I love commercial repairs. We don't always have to replace your roof when it comes to commercial. There's some we got to. There's no doubt about it. There's some it's just too far gone. I can't do anything with it. But the majority have just been sort of like your fascia. There's some nails backed out, not in flat roofing on the average, but comparing it to all I've talked about today, there's some nails backing out. You got some caulking bad. A few things have pulled away, like a shingle that's flipped over, damaged a little bit. That sometimes it leaks, sometimes it doesn't. Stuff like that. Hey, if you're in that boat, or at least like to know whether your flat roof or your shingle roof is in good condition, along with the other amenities we provide, I don't know if that rhymed or not, or worked or not, but other things we inspect while we're at your facility or home, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and now blown-in attic insulation. And that last one's a twofer. It gets you in the summer and the winter. Helps you out a lot. Doesn't get you. It's got it. Well, I think we got it today. I don't know. Might have to come back pretty wide open next week. I hope I explained it to the best of my ability. 'Cause like I said, I'm not a teacher. I can just spit it out there. Anyway, hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Have a safe week. See ya. Hey, this is Chad Rowan with RTM Roofing. Energy efficiency today is a big thing. How much are you losing out of your attic from your insulation or lack thereof? RTM Roofing now does blown-in attic insulation. Let us come out and inspect and see where you're sitting and make sure you're fully insulated. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com. We'll be looking for your call. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. The heat is on. Is it in? Is it in your house? Have you looked in your attic? Is it coming from your attic, your insulation or lack thereof? RTM Roofing now does home attic blown-in insulation. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com and get your complimentary inspection today. Thanks for watching Renovation Nation. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share button.